Welcome to the Bill Cartwright Show with our special guest, USF Don's alum, Booker Harris. Booker, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast with you, Bill. How goes it?
Again,
Again, right? Doing it once again. Yes.
I'll talk about exactly what you're doing now and tell everybody what you're up to.
Currently, I am the associate head coach at Academy of Art University in San Francisco, and just finished my third season there. And at the time of this podcast, it's winding down towards the end of the year. Finals are wrapping up. Seniors are getting ready to commence on to the next aspect of life, and also trying to finish up recruiting. So once you get your seniors out the door, it's time to find a way to replace them and their production that they have.
Talk about how different Academy of Art is from Dominican College.
I'd probably say the majors in the studies that are available are the first thing that come to mind. We're heavily influenced in the arts and communications, music production, excuse me, just everything you could imagine, fashion, compared to Dominican, where I was at for 10 years. It's more of a traditional liberal arts school, with your majors, like nursing, business, um, with a couple like English and a couple other of the arts that are, I guess, more normally that you would expect to find on a four-year campus. Um, Academy of Arts right in the middle of San Francisco, so you're in it amongst, the financial district, the buildings there, the restaurants there, uh, the nightlife, everything that you can imagine that a busy city that San Francisco brings. So, the nice thing about that is like it's a different experience for the student and the student athlete. And also the things that come to mind, it's a little bit different than University of San Francisco because uh, USF, how in the center of campus it had like that main hub with the lawn right next to St. Ignatius Church and kind of everything. So when you do step in the center of campus, you kind of feel like you're in your own different world or place right there. And for Academy of Art, since we have so many different buildings throughout the city, it's really interesting when you head to class and you're walking by, like you said, maybe like a Charles Schwab building or a Wells Fargo and a Chase that's right there. So you're right in the heart of the city. So those are a couple of things that stick out.
Just probably, I don't know, a good back question about Academy of Arts. So does that mean that the students are more artsy or they're more have that kind of skill, which, as an athlete, I'd love to be able to paint, draw, play music. Uh, I'm working on the music part, but it's really, really hard. I don't have that thing, but is
Uh,
that the more of that kind of student, or are they just regular students?
you know what? I'd say when you're in that age group of traditional students of being 18 to 24-year olds, which usually we have in college, um, students are students. It's one of those things where I think the creativity or compared to like right brain, left brain hemisphere probably comes into play. Like there's a numerous amount of students that are passionate about drawing and fashion design or using this thing right here, which is your cell phone to film and record uh, basically stuff to brand yourself and stitch that together for, communications and media, um, things that you see, whether it's cutting up your own video to create a commercial or an ad that you can, kind of put on a web page or put on your Instagram page or your Twitter page that kind of will bring clients and people to you to check out whether your artwork or your fashion clothes or something, whatever you're trying to get your foot in the door as far as career wise.
Yeah, I just think it's really interesting for people who have that kind of talent. I mean, you were an academic guy to be able to have access to those people who are constantly thinking about something not really that's not really in the norm. So it's kind of that's got to be kind of cool.
It is kind of cool, and I think it allows every student kind of find their niche and passion. Like if it's one of those things that might be quote unquote untraditional, and just like the creative ways and thoughts of like how those young people think, when you interact with them, and they're like with any young person, like maybe like it might be um their outfit that they're wearing that they might have created or come up with. Shoes are always ever popular, whether it's your Nikes or Adidas, but something with bright colors and everything like that. So it's kind of unique being around that more than anything, like the majority of the school year in your day.
Yeah, the switch gears you a little bit because I'm I'm still working on this myself, and something that you're having to deal with is this portal thing. And I'm not really sure of it. I mean, I like the idea of students being able to make themselves happy in their environment, but the fact that they can make money, and with some students, student athletes, a lot of money. Um, I don't know. Are they professional people now? What do you make out of that?
It's one of those things where what's that quote? The one constant in life is change, which is different. Like you said, I'm a proponent of the student athlete having the best experience possible, no matter what campus you're on. It is a change as far as with the NIL and like the transfer rules and regulations, as far as like not having to sit out. That's kind of a unique and always changing, like it feels like up to the minute and up to the millisecond, with what these athletes are able now to do. So I mean, when you're trying to brand yourself like name and image and likeness, it's the concept is not um out of left field in a way to me. I think it's different for athletes like that are in the college age, but if you were an actor that was, you know, that age, you would try to be branding yourself and that, or if you're a musician, like I remember growing up, your boy band era and stuff like that, they were coming out with like different action figures and things like that that go into it. I'd say that the trickiest part is, like you said, navigating, like for the student athlete, there's of course a couple ones that are going to be your stars and probably demand that attention just because they're a fan base favorite. They may have a lot of followers on social media, and it's at that age, it's one of those things where you're in a team sport, which makes basketball interesting. So how can you still have that team and family atmosphere, but not necessarily ruffle your teammates' feather if such and such is Bill's getting all the attention and he's getting a good chunk of money compared to what I'm able to generate for myself. And a lot of that also can trickle down to like playing time, like how happy am that with how happy am I with what I'm producing. And there's, I think, two ways to look at it. Like if there's a player that maybe didn't get the looks right out of high school or right away, and they fall into like the mid-major or low major conference, and then all of a sudden they get an opportunity to play those minutes, and you wind up seeing that they were producing um, on their stat line with points and rebounds per game. If I'm a high major scorer, like something like a blue blood, and I can see that that kid has performed, very well for the past 2 years, it's pretty enticing to be like, well, if the transfer portal's open and this kid is doing this, he's shown that he could play. And it's almost like the level that I'm at, you're always looking for the player that can, sneak between, kind of gets hidden and overlooked and then turns out to be good. So I think if you're at like the Division II level, you're trying to look for a kid that probably should be a Division I player, but maybe fell through their cracks. And I imagine if you're a high major and you're looking at a mid-major school and you're finding out that there's another kid like, wow, he's pretty good. We overlooked that, but maybe now we can have him on our radar and have him look at us or come play for us due to what we can offer, as far as like his opportunity to make money or get paid.
Don't you think it's amazing because there are kids like the kid at St. Mary's, you are a starter. You are a vital part of the team. You are a major contributor and he went to UConn. So, so whether it was money or whether the possibility of winning an NCAA championship, you were already having success where you were. And
Yeah.
I think that's the interesting thing is that are you really a part of the school or are you just an individual who are just looking to make more money because kids are now leaving school. Kids are in their senior year and they're on their third school or fourth school. So it's like I'm not sure what to make out of that. What do you make out of that?
Yeah, it's one of those things where case by case, you may look at it. Like you said, if you're in a position where you're had success and you're starting, I mean, obviously, if you go to one of those bigger name schools, like you may probably have that opportunity to compete for a national championship and be on that scale. The thing that I take away, like you mentioned, as far as like kids being on their third and fourth school, is the unique bond that you get about being around a person for multiple years, whether it's 3 or 4 years. Like I'm sure with your class of freshmen that you came in, there was guys you enjoyed playing with for 4 years when it was more of a progress as you guys, you know, fought through freshman year and sophomore and junior year before having an opportunity to go pro. Just that unique bond. And like I said, it's one of those things. I think we're in a day and time where, you do get mentioned a lot. Like people want the attention, they want the experience, and maybe to see if I'm a big fish in a small pond, how would it be like if I went up, to a different level? And the other caveat is too, like over the past couple of years, there's been a couple names that stayed in school with the ability to have an NIL if they necessarily didn't feel the pressure to leave school right away and go to the pro level and maybe have a chance to develop if they were like a lower first round or second round pick to come back to school for a senior year. And, it's I think about a little bit like how many years was Timmy at like Gonzaga?
Seemed like forever.
Yeah, right. Right, exactly. But like I said, it was a great experience for him. Like if you're a student athlete, you're enjoying it, you're winning it, have a chance to, play for national championship and you're getting money. You don't have to quote unquote go out and step into your profession, the professional world, or the professional athletic scene yet. Like, why not enjoy all the things that come with that being a college kid that's carefree, but still have a way to have some income so you can enjoy that.
But aren't there more kids in the portal, and this is guys and gals, than our schools?
Oh yeah, there is. So the other day I was reading the stat, like I think even at Division I there was like over 2,000 kids, and then Division II, the level I'm at, there was over like 1,100 kids, and only at that time like 48% might have committed or found a new home. And it's one of those things where we're like, yeah, it's a probability that you may not land where you want or where you want to be or have a chance to go back to where you left. Because there's always a new class of freshmen and transfers coming in. So it's it's more difficult than ever, to get on a collegiate basketball team or get a scholarship somewhere. So that's one of those tricky situations as far as, like you said, there's more kids in the portal than there are, places at the table to eat or be a part of it.
That's crazy. So, so let me ask you because I'm still not sure, and I'm going to go back on you. Aren't aren't they professional basketball players then? So if I'm making $500,000, aren't I a professional player?
If I'm making
Making $500,000,
right,
aren't I a professional player?
right. I mean, y- yeah, that's in a sense, you're pretty close to being a professional. But like I said, the other caveat or devil's advocate would say like, well, what if I started school or came back to school for other reasons and I still had a full-time job, but I still had to go to class and do the work and everything like that. So what's to say as a student athlete who just happens to be, you know, a sophomore or junior that's 21 or 22? What about the working adult that goes back to grad school to work on their master's or their PhD? Uh,
I don't disagree with you because I
yeah.
think that if you have that ability, if you're an artist, if you're a musician, if you have an opportunity and an ability, a talent, you certainly should be reimbursed for that. So, but I just think it's interesting that that age of being a non-professional is over. So, because you are a professional athlete, especially for the people who now do leave school
Yeah.
and or leave different colleges and just looking for a better offer, which is for me, that's fine. If you don't fit, if you have a better opportunity, why not? That sounds good to me. I mean,
Right. And
is that how it should be, you think?
you know what? For opportunities that fit you, I think, like I said, things have changed and it's trending that way. I don't know if it can go back. But like I said, for those that do have that opportunity, it's one of those things where I understand and I get it, like good for you. My only concern is like every the number saying more people think they can have that same opportunity or same results as everybody else, but it's really a limited number of those that can demand that. No matter what profession you're in, whether you're an opera singer, whether you're a music producer, whether you're an entrepreneur startup person who goes around helping those startup business, like um the numbers say only 1% are probably going to get that opportunity. Even at the college level to, you know, move up and make that amount and be in like the high revenue category of student athlete.
You know, I'm going to take it a different direction, and we're probably going to finish with that. But I want to talk to you a little bit about coaching.
Hmm.
What do you think is the hardest thing about coaching? It's a two-part question. And what's the hardest thing about being a head coach?
Hardest thing about being a head coach is the decisions that you have to make throughout the day. There's so many decisions. Like I said, I was fortunate to sit in that that chair for 10 years, and at the college level, you'd be surprised how intricately your life is wound with theirs. And it's not just obviously by NCAA rules, you're allowed 20 hours a week in season with them. But for those that are away from home, don't have family nearby, you become like the surrogate for them. And then you're getting 12 to 14 young people that all have goals and aspirations. But how do you funnel and channel that to get everybody buy-in? How do you build a shared responsibility and ownership in it? How do you get them to believe in what you're doing when it might be something different than what they learned at their other school, junior college, or high school? And how do you get them to trust you? Just because there's there's so much things that go into it, whether you're dealing with boosters, you're dealing with your paperwork for your administration, you're dealing with, scheduling, you're dealing with recruiting constantly, because by the time you have your seniors and you like them and you appreciate them, they're out the door commencing on to that next phase of life. And you're like, oh man, I have another one to bring in and trying to train and get him to the level as maybe your all conference or all American player that you had coming in. So I'd say there's just so much um that you have to monitor, you know what I mean, as far as like being a head coach and making sure you have the right people around you so you can take some of that stuff off your plate. And then also having those safety nets and things in place at the institution that you're at to get young people help if they need it in the classroom, if they need mental check-ins and need to talk with somebody to deal with the aspect of maybe being away from home, the depression, the loneliness, the pressures that they might be going through. So you're almost like pretty much like a Swiss Army knife as a head coach. And then of course you're competitive and you're trying to win games. So all that it's in your file drawer that you have to deal with day in and day out and go through the checklist.
So you've been coaching for a while now. I did coach 16 years, and as you know, I ended up going to Japan and China to have an
Yeah.
adventure. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Um, are you prepared to move, travel? And if so, how far would you go?
Well, I mean, I've done it a little bit um throughout my career, because this is probably, I think, about the eighth institution I might be at. I was at Sonoma State, Long Beach State. I'm so old, like you said, I'm trying to remember the chronological order of it. Cal State San Bernardino, University of San Diego, Metro State of Denver, Dominican University, and now Academy of Arts. So seven. As a coach, I think if you are always looking for a challenge, you're ready to go. I mean, obviously being born and raised in the Bay Area and out west, like I love um where I'm at right now. Life is good, content, close to family, things like that. But like as you probably went through, Bill, when you were coaching, like an opportunity to try something new, a new challenge, if it presents itself, that fits in line with where you're at in life, and obviously if you're married or have a significant other, keeping in mind, you know what's going to be best for you to attain your goal and how much support you have, because we all know whether you're playing or coaching, you won't be able to do this for forever. Like you mentioned, I've been fortunate to do it over 24 years, getting ready to go on my 25th year of coaching, whether it's at the college 4-year level or even summer league, JV. But for me personally, I think I am prepared. I do have I don't want to say minimalist lifestyle. But I have my staples and enjoy people and learning new things and traveling. And like I said, as you know, basketball is a unique sport where the ball goes from me to you to three other people on the court with us, and we're all trying to achieve a shared goal. And like I said, for dream positions of coaching and being able to mentor young people and also teach a game that you love, I'd say the the pull of that probably would allow me to be like, hey, let me give this some opportunity and pick up and go. Because at the end of the day, and maybe you could attest to this, you could eventually get back home or get to home base once that's done, right?
Yeah, yeah. Mine is a little different journey because it's kind of weird because really wherever I've never really um like looked for a job.
Mm,
Job always came to me and I
right.
was kind of asked to do that job. So it's kind of a weird thing, but um And the interesting part of that, let me back to USF, um, but a lot of guys do travel. A lot of guys travel internationally and coach. There's when I was in Japan, I met other Americans in China, Korea. So I guess my question was is how far would you go?
How far would I go? International?
Yeah.
Oh, I've that's a good question. You know what? I have been abroad, like for like I said, for a couple quick trips to visit uh friends or teammates that might be in a different country. And then also when I was at USF, we did, an international tour. Um one of the 4 years I was there. And I think I would for sure be open to it for the right opportunity. And like I said, a different way of life, a different style of basketball, which is different.
Yeah.
And also do that. Because like you said, whether you were in the NBA, Bill, or if you were, like you said, coaching overseas in a different country, wasn't there little nuances that were intriguing to see that you could put a spin on, your teaching methodology and the way you taught concepts and new concepts that you liked that wanted to incorporate into the style of play?
Um, when I was coaching like in Japan, I knew what I wanted exactly. So it was me trying to be a really good teacher and then giving those guys a complete understanding of what I wanted. But the guys in Japan were outstanding. I could not have had a better experience. So, um,
Did you wind up getting pretty fluent in Japanese?
no, not at all. That is really hard. It's ridiculous to read.
Yeah.
Um, so even my assistant coaches, as we were looking at his stops at a street sign of the name of a street, it had all those characters on there, and they were looking at it for a good minute, and I was telling them, "You got to be kidding me! You guys, it's taking you a minute to understand it. How can I ever read that?" So it's just a really great it was a great thing though, and I really enjoyed that culture. It's really special. So the last thing I'm going to ask you is give me your ultimate job, your ultimate, where do you want to end up? Who do you want to be? Because, and this is why I ask you, because I think you're in a perfect situation. Because if you notice, like, let's say we're on the NBA right now,
Hmm.
there's no big guys in the NBA, not coaches. They're all guards. They fit the suit. And if you watch NCAA basketball with outside of very, very few people, all these guys are guards. There's no centers, there's no 7 footers inside. That doesn't fit the suit. So you're very lucky because you do fit the suit. So I'm just curious, where do you want, what is your ultimate job? You don't have to name 8 plays, but your ultimate, where do you want to end up?
Ultimately, I think I want to be back in the head coach's chair. And the level of it, I think it goes one of those things where, I would love to be at the highest level, like professionally, and see how it is, or get, you know, an intake of that and see where it is. But in a sense, I think um for me, like you said, the the dream job would be, a place where I can kind of use like my knowledge just to influence, the next generation of players and coaches. Uh I laugh at it because like in coaching years, fairly young, still mid 40s, but part of me wonders like I don't know necessarily if I can move around as well into the 70s, like some of those guys like Larry Brown and who keep coaching to till they're late in their years. Part of me wants to enjoy and then kind of sit back and watch maybe the young people that I worked with or mentored and see how they do. I would love to be like a consultant later on and just uh bounce ideas off young people, younger coaches when it comes to, the dynamics of teaching and building a team and something new. And then also I guess to bring it back or circle it, like I would love to go on the sideline with you, man. Are you coming out of retirement? I grew up, in the Bay Area watching the Warriors, and Jordan was at his prime with the Bulls, and you were busy dunking on the Knicks and everything like that. And then I remember you on the sideline with the Bulls too. So if there's a, a reunion tour for you to go out and be back on the sidelines, just let me know where.
I'll definitely let you know. If that's where I'm guided to be, that's where I'll be. Well,
I
Booker,
also love that. I also love that approach too, Bill. Like you said, you got it. It's one of those things where it seemed like you destined necessarily didn't try to fit, like put the square peg in the round hole, and like everything that you wanted presented itself to you, and you never got that itch. And that's what I'm trying to decipher and learn a little bit between, there's also always a desire, to see what's out there and what you can do. But like you said, were you able to kind of like center and focus and not necessarily chase 1,001 things in one direction, just kind of like be where your feet are?
yeah, I was definitely just looking for the signs and on the road, and I got lucky. I guess right a lot of times. So
Yeah.
hopefully, I still got some signs out there. I'm still looking at them because I don't feel like I'm done. I'm going to be 67 this year.
Yeah.
Super weird because I got grandkids. I got 8 of them, and I feel great. But I don't feel old. But I knew if I was 16, that would say, "Hey, dude, you're old." So,
Right.
so. But anyway, Booker, thank you so much. Well, I got to get back to San Francisco. We got to talk to basketball and hang out a little bit and get some lunch.
Yeah. And then
Uh,
hopefully you could correct my golf swing.
No, no, I can't do that. We can do everything basketball wise, but I'll get you to uh, Gary Nelson Jr. and I'm sure he'll get you right.
Right. So I'll be a project for sure. So on the green, I'm all right, but off that tee, sometimes it could be erratic.
Oof, you are the norm.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Booker.
Thanks. Great to see you, Bill. Look forward to catching up with you.